Hi, this is Jeff Kennedy with pond.com. Welcome to our presentation. On this front page, you can see Chris Wickard's pond in Indiana, which has been treated with our Clean Clear Blue product. We specialize in the organic treatment of ponds and lakes. This is really a tremendous time to be selling to the pond market. There are estimates of over 2 million farm ponds in the United States, and likely more than that in other residential, commercial, and natural ponds and lakes that need to be treated. Organic Pond has one of the largest or the fastest growing pond brands on the market today, and one of the main reasons for that is because it's an entirely natural product. It's safe for people, pets, plants, fish, and wildlife. The whole concept behind the product line is to start addressing the natural process that ponds go through, a natural process called eutrophication. And that's basically what happens over time is a pond starts to fill with organic nutrients, fish waste, leaves, grass clippings, a whole variety of different nutrient loads that are building up in a pond. Over time, that will actually fill up a pond. A man-made pond left to its own devices will actually fill up over time and will go from a body of water back to a meadow. So there's really a proven method of caring and treating a pond naturally. It's a function of three things: aeration, bacteria, and colorant, or pond dye. Using these three tools, you're able to naturally treat a pond and keep it clean, healthy, for both irrigation as well as for the health of your fish. Aeration is really one of the keys. Adding oxygen to the system, especially bottom oxygen, enables you to eliminate stagnation and thermal stratification. It stops dissolved oxygen stratification as well, so that the lower layers of your pond are colder and hold less oxygen than the upper layers. This leads to a buildup of muck, which leads to excessive weed and algae growth. So by aerating your pond, you start to end that process of muck buildup. By adding oxygen to the system, you energize an existing biological process that starts to improve the health of the pond almost immediately. Coupled with that is the addition of bacteria. Beneficial bacteria are designed to attack the components of the muck layer. This is the stuff that's feeding the weed and algae growth. Our strains of bacteria are naturally occurring, safe for people, pets, plants, and wildlife, and are very effective at digesting the components of the muck layer.
You were saying earlier when you did this presentation, that these are all naturally occurring. People hear bacteria, they hear a bunch of, it's almost a scare word for some people who really know.
But sure. Yeah, it is kind of scary, and the neat thing about the bacteria strains that we use is they're very selective. It's like the engineering the bacteria. Although they're naturally occurring, we have very specific ones that we're then able to culture, so that we're able to certify that they're non-pathogenic, that they're not going to have any negative impact on either your pond or your person. And they're really focused on what they're designed to do. Each bacteria produces certain enzymes which attack certain components of that muck layer. So you can actually get physical reductions of the muck measured in inches per season, and a reduction in the weed and algae growth because the bacteria start to compete with the weeds and the algae for the nutrient load in the pond. The third concept of this is adding a colorant, or a pond dye. Pond dyes been used for years and are a very simple approach to limiting weed and algae growth. The theory is to block the amount of sunlight penetrating into the pond, and when you block sunlight, you prevent photosynthesis from occurring, and that stops the plant from growing or even starting. So we suggest using pond dyes as early in the season as possible. Get them in there, block early spring germination, and you're going to help your customer in the long run to really eliminate a lot of weed and algae growth. We want some algae production in a pond. Pond dye is not as effective in shallows because light can penetrate, but it reduces the overall biomass, which is enough for most pond owners. You're not going to be filled with algae blooms all season long. Pond dye really is easy to use. You basically are shaking it up and pouring it around the edge of the pond in a couple of different points. If you've got an aerated pond, it disperses very quickly. If you have a natural water movement, just wind diffusion over the surface, fish movement, the water will actually distribute throughout the entire water column that dye in 12 to 24 hours. If your customers don't know how much pond dye they need, they can actually call us up and we can physically measure their pond from a satellite so that we can determine exactly what their needs are. For example, the long pond in the picture here is about it's 2.08 surface acres, and it's 8.32 acre feet. So this client would need about 2 gallons to treat this on his regular treatment schedule.
And you were saying a little bit earlier, Jeff, and you rate your blue dye at 5 acre feet per gallon.
That's correct. And the typical configuration or typical product on the market right now is a 4 acre foot treatment. And virtually everyone's label says a 4 acre foot treatment. And the neat, interesting thing is those 4 acre foot treatments range from a low of 15% of active ingredient to a high of about 26% active ingredient. Whereas we've got over 30% active ingredient in our bottle. Our whole theory, what we've proven to work, is that if we get a certain number of parts per million of dye in this water column, we will stop that growth. So we want a little bit extra that in a standard gallon that somebody's picking off the shelf, getting a product that's priced right in line with the others. It's not lower than some of the other competitive products on the market, and are actually getting more bang for the buck per bottle. Excuse me.
Okay.
Now, our Clean Clear Blue product is really an exciting product. We tested this for a long time before we brought it out. It's a really fast-moving product off the shelf. It's got an attractive bottle. I'm going to tell you, once the customer starts using this stuff, they're amazed. We called it Clean Clear Blue because it does 3 things. It cleans, it clears, and it blues the pond. It cleans by the beneficial bacteria that we talked about. There's over 750 billion bacteria colonies in this bottle. As those bacteria colonies disperse throughout the water column, they actually attack suspended organic particles. Anything floating that's organic actually acts as a flocule that drops into the bottom, and then the bacteria start to digest that component, that muck layer. So this is a neat product because we reduce the potential for weed and algae growth with the dye, and then we also start to balance the nutrient load by these bacteria digesting that component. And it's really effective. A customer is going to see a difference in their pond the next day when they use this product. It's going to be clearer. It's certainly going to be blue. And over time, they're going to see a significant reduction in their muck. Bear with me real quick, and I'll scroll down. Now, here's our blue pond dye. Again, we have very attractive labeling. It's pretty vivid. The customer sees it, goes right to the bottle. And here's our blue pond dye with, again, a 5 acre foot treatment in each gallon. Our pure bacteria product we really designed this for folks that don't want to tint their ponds. So this is strictly a bacteria-based product. Again, it's going to do 2 things in this case. It's going to clarify, and it's going to clean. And again, it does a great job of doing that. Finally, we've got pure black. And black is starting to be used in a variety of different applications. What it does for the customer gives them a very deep, reflective look to the pond. The pond will actually look deeper in reality than it is. And it will reflect anything that surrounds it or is above it. So in reality, when you think of black, it's kind of scary, but basically what it's doing is reflecting anything that hits it. So if you've got a nice cloudy days, it's going to reflect those clouds. If you've got trees surrounding it, it's absolutely gorgeous in the fall. It's a really nice product. Same kind of an acre-foot treatment as the pure blue. And again, all these things are applied really simply. You're basically shaping on the edges, and then, again, in 12 to 24 hours, this stuff is going to disperse. And in fact, if you look at that picture there, you see a muddy pond with Beth pouring the in, and the picture below, that's literally 24 hours later the next morning. This is a product that I've never experienced the number of people actually taking the time to write testimonials, sending us their pictures. This, for example, was a bed and breakfast in New York. The guy's been using our product for a couple of years now, and he was thrilled with the results. And we hear that from, frankly, all over the country. We get these unsolicited emails, and these people send us these great pictures. For example, we literally got this one on the 24th out of Georgia. And here are a couple of before and after pictures. You can see a planktonic algae bloom, got a lot of small algae growth. It's basically a pea soup. This person has done 2 treatments, and here is their pond now. Again, it's clean, it's clear, and it's blue. And if you'll notice, a lot of that muck is already gone along this shoreline. And so in summary, we've got some really simple tools and really simple products that will help your customers to help keep their ponds clean, clear, healthy, and they come back for it every time.
Okay, so in summary, you guys offer 4 products: the blue dye by itself, the black dye by itself, the bacteria by itself, and then the blue dye with the bacteria.
That's correct.
Okay, and why don't you show them a picture? Pop Wayne up there and show everybody real quick.
It's so funny because it's amazing actually the number of celebrities that you actually end up doing business with this type of a product. There's a lot of these people have estates and ponds, and this is in fact Wayne Newton has an estate in Las Vegas with 4 large ponds on it. He's got quite a spread with a lot of livestock, and he actually irrigates out of some of these ponds, but they had actually gone into disrepair. So we actually recently, he's been using Clean Clear Blue for this season. He's had his ponds aerated, and he comes out every day and says, I see fish in here I have not seen before. And he loves the color. Yeah, it's kind of neat.
Okay, well, hey, I appreciate it very much, and we'll have everybody stop by and see you down at the Cisco Dealer Market.
We'd love to see him. Thanks so much.